J.P. Wytrick hired a contractor to build a home for him in rural Wilson County, unaware of the ordeal that was about to unfold. And it's an ordeal that is a long way from getting resolved. Wytrick says much of the blame lies with the Wilson County government. Wytrick, by the way, is a veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here's what happened, and it gets a bit technical, so bear with us. During the construction phase of Wytrick's new home, Wytrick said a county building inspector came out to the property. That county official inspected the home, but Wytrick says this person never inspected the home's foundational walls. The inspector said the home, as it was built thus far, complied with the county code. Again, the county employee did not inspect the foundational walls, and that's important. So far, so good, right? Well, the house eventually gets built. A second inspector for the county comes out to Wytrick's property for another inspection. If everything goes through, Wytrick can get a certificate of occupancy to move into the home. This second inspector sees cracks on the porch. The inspector sees that the home's front foundational walls have buckled. All of this, again, was apparently caused by problems with the front foundational walls, which Wytrick says the first county inspector never looked at. Wytrick invited Tennessee Watchdog to his property recently. Wytrick is currently pursuing legal remedies against the contractor who built the home. That contractor, Tim Harden of Wilson County, told us he could have done the job properly once he realized there was a problem. But Harden said he couldn't do that work because Wytrick wanted to save money. But regardless of what happened with the contractor, Wytrick says county officials, specifically the Wilson County Building Inspector's Office, have some liability in this matter.
The county's saying we don't look at walls. We only look at foundations. Well, right now, I do think the county's responsible financially. They failed to properly inspect this foundational wall. As a result, I can't get a CO. As a result, look at all around you. The whole front porch has collapsed. Water runs down this front porch into the basement. No less than 3 times I've had to clean up ponds downstairs in the basement. We can't live in it. I'm over $200,000 alone outside the building of this home. There's $600,000 invested in this home. Everything I have is poured into it. I'm paying for 2 footprints, a home down in Georgia, which we were supposed to sell, and back in January 2015 was the intent to move. The CO was denied in December 2014. That shut everything down. So I'm still paying for the home in Georgia, the associated costs, property tax, utilities, insurances, everything relevant to that, plus living and commuting back and forth, to include now everything associated with managing 51 acres of farmland, this home, and everything to manage all my equipment up here. We're totally paycheck to paycheck. We're tapped out right now. And to include, the county wants to assess me full value for this home, which they won't give a CO because no one can live in it. It's just a standing structure. So they look at brick and they perceive, oh, well, look at all that standing brick. We need to charge somebody for that. We just can't let that brick stand on the field, even though people can't live in it. Oh, look at the window. Obviously, we need to tax him because he has a window on his property. And I'm like, again, it just doesn't stop. They always have a means and a reason to capture money for themselves. But when it comes to the liability of the building of the home, obviously no one's accountable or there's no liability there.
And the county mayor does not dispute most of what Wytrick says.
That the county did not have building codes as of 2010 when we took office. And so therefore we had some builders that come in and asked that we would impose building codes out in the county, simply because the other contractors that were working out in the county were not going by codes, and so they could build houses cheaper. And so the contractors inside the city that were building houses to code, built houses to code regardless of where they were. So they wanted everybody to be on the same playing field. So they asked us to enforce building codes, and so we put building codes in place in the county in 2011. And when we did that, we started out with a 2006 building code. We knew we had to walk before we could run, so there were 3 or 4 things that we actually said that we're going to go out and emphasize on all of these buildings out here in the county. So we started out with those, and we've grown since that time to add a few things every year or every so often to the things that we really stress harder on inspecting. Walls, in this case, was the issue, and they were not part of our inspection.
Wytrick says the government has caused him a massive inconvenience.
I deal with it. No, my biggest enemy is nothing but government to my left and right, where it's state or local. And nobody's accountable for anything. Again, no one understands the second and third order of effects of how this impacts us. We don't get to live in our home. We don't get to live in our land. I don't get to manage my land.
I think it's a tragedy that we, as a county, we were growing, and I wish we had been able to have more tools in our toolbox that we inspected, so that we could have taken care of Mr. JP in this case, because he was out serving his country, taking care of us, and so that is a tragedy. For us, we are working. We think we've done a good thing by trying to inspect the county. We're continuing to work to get better at doing those. And I hate in this case that we wasn't inspecting walls, because that could have solved a lot of the problems that we got here.
Again, there's more passion to collect my money from property taxes than the passion is to correct it because of lack of culpability in properly inspecting foundational walls.